Welcome into the Game Plan with head coach Dan Quinn. Here are your hosts, Bryan Colbert Jr. and Logan Paulsen.
Logan is NFC Championship time, baby. We catch up with head coach Dan Quinn. Talk all about our matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Then we head into the film. We'll talk about why the ball is life and why it's important in the Eagles game today.
Ball is always life, Logan. We talking must-watch matchups in tonight's game against the Eagles. All that and more
on the Game Plan.
Welcome again, head coach Dan Quinn to the building. Coach, congratulations on all the success so far. NFC Championship. We know what that means to this fan base. We know what that means to the city. What does it mean to you and these players being in this NFC Championship game?
It's awesome, man. And to get a chance to go battle, division team just right up the road, man. It's as fun as you can imagine in championship games. And we've tried to keep that process and mindset all the way through. So they've been in a lot of tough games. And so our process to get ready again will be rock solid.
And, you've done such a great job week in and week out of making sure, this is the one.
Yep.
It seems like it's extra challenging this week because it's this one and then the big one. Does anything change? Do you have to message it differently, or the guys are just that locked in?
No, in fact, just that locked in to go, what should it feel like? And they said it feels like normal, and that's what I want them to feel like. The process of winning, what do you do on Monday? I'm going to tell the truth. What do you do on Wednesday and tomorrow and Thursday, all the way through. So just stay in that preparation and that pocket of getting ready. And our team has a joyful and intensity about us. They will go after you as hard as you can and kick your ass and then get up smiling and want to enjoy that part too. So there's this good blend that has both of those things together. They work really hard, but they also enjoy that time together. And that's what makes this group so much fun.
And Coach, we have the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. Not once, not twice, but 3 times we are going to play them this season. What is hard about playing a team for the 3rd time? What challenges does that pose?
We wanted to have fresh eyes to look at them again. I think we've improved a lot in the 5 weeks since we've played them. And so we wanted to make sure we're turning over every stone to look at what we liked, what we didn't like, what we need to keep doing, what we need to stop doing into that game. So the challenge is that you've played, the matchups, where it is, but also the good part is we've improved a lot in these last 5 weeks, and not just on the field, but we've gotten stronger in our mindset, in our winning time, in our connection, and all of those things add to the performance on the field. But we've gotten better over the last month.
You talk about connection, and that's going to be so important in this game. How, maybe some tangible ways for the fans where you've seen those areas improve, because it is kind of a subjective metric, but you're with the guys every day, so.
The best example I think I can probably give is maybe even from the last game, because on the road you do have to bring your own energy into it. And so long touchdown pass by Terry on a screen. And the next play, a tackle on a kickoff inside the 25-yard line. And then 2 plays later, an interception that gets returned. So that's an example of how you bring the energy for one another, how one side feeds the other side. And if you just stay into that, Logan, providing your own energy, worry about how you're doing things, that's, to me, the mindset that you want to go after, because we'll create our own energy. It won't have anything to do with the other team, but the energy that the crowd provides, we'll use that. It's good.
Yeah.
And Coach, each and every week we talk about the progression of this defense and how they continue to get better. 5 takeaways against the Detroit Lions. How has it been seeing them not only continue to improve, but do it on the biggest stage they've seen thus far?
Yeah, the 2 things that you want to really dig into on both sides of the ball is taking care of the ball and going after it, and then tackling and breaking tackles. And so you want to be in the plus in both of those. And so over the 2 postseason games, +6 with the ball and we're +5 in the tackling margin. So those 2 things, that's the fundamentals, and that's why we work so hard at those things to say, man, this has to be the way that we get down.
You talk about tackling. I mean, it's late in the year. I know a lot of teams don't really it's more walk-through tempo. There's a couple live days. How do you make sure that skill stays sharp? Because it is such an essential part.
Right,
of
and you don't want, you've seen it through your whole career. Some teams' skills are going up and others are deteriorating, and that part we were going to not ever back off from, the tackling and leverage and the tracking and the technique for it. So although we may not hit to the ground, that doesn't mean the angles and the techniques to get into that space are, so significant. And their running back is fantastic. The tracking, the spinning, and all the things that he brings. So our tackling has to be on point.
And it's not every day you see a defense find such success so early this first year, this group being together. But it's also rare to see the young guys play the way they've been playing. Sanderson, 2 interceptions. Quan Martin, his first career pick 6. How cool is it for you to see these young guys buy in so quickly and find success?
Yeah, it has absolutely come from the work. Like, they have absolutely put it in, Bryan. They do not back off of that. The success they've had, it came from working for it, man. And so, like, there's a good feeling that comes with that, knowing that you can trust your training, you put the work in. And so, although you go through the ups and downs, but when you get on the other side of that, there's some good football to be played. And that's why I like where, the attitude and the mindset of the team is like, man, we found our identity, but we have not hit our ceiling. And so, like, we're going to go after it as hard as we can.
Yeah, and again, you talk about Quan and, Mike having all these plays, but then it was also great to see Dorrance come in, make a really tremendous rush and kind of capitalize in a big moment. And, they're going in to score, the momentum's kind of shifting. And talk about his impact maybe on the team and, like, just what it means to have that guy make that play.
Yeah, sometimes you need somebody to set it off.
Yeah.
And he was that one in that game to create the fumble, to, knock him out of that. And so to have a chance to, flip the game, so to speak, in those impactful plays, he was right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And, Coach, you mentioned Saquon Barkley a little earlier, so let's go back to him. Incredible season he's having so far. How do you game plan against a running back that's just hot like that, especially a guy you're seeing for the 3rd time?
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen him for the 33rd time. Like, from his time in New York and, from Atlanta to Dallas to here, and he's a fantastic competitor. He really is. He's got size. He's got the speed that he can break leverage of people. So you want to make sure you can do the things right over and over again. Don't get bored of just being in the right spot, doing the right things. So many times you see somebody try to make a play or get out of a gap, and, man, boom, he'll hit it and expose you. So, he's the real deal.
Can you, like, maybe double-click on, like, you said something there, like getting out of a gap. And, like, to me, when you're playing a good runner, like when you watch the film, it's like it's the ultimate team thing. You got to just trust that everyone's in the right spot. And I feel like your team's uniquely qualified because they are so for each other in this.
Yeah, and that's the discipline that it will take.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Of defensive ends, the tackles, the linebackers, however it goes, it's so funny. You jump out of one, and that's the one that he can find and go hit. And so just having that kind of discipline and being physical, the tackling, but the gap control, that's a really big deal. And he's going to make plays. That's, who he is and what he's done. But we've got to make sure that the tackling and the gap control is on point.
And, Coach, looking at our offense, Jayden Daniels seems to just rise to the occasion no matter what stage he's on. He's on a huge stage last week. Balls out. Now he's on the NFC Championship stage. What do you expect to see from him in tonight's game?
Lots of poise. And when it's mental chaos going on all around him, like, he lives in that space. And he is very comfortable in that zone, which is completely uncomfortable. And so for him into that spot, he stays locked in, he stays focused. But again, much like we're talking about with Mikey or with the other guys, like, it is the work. That's where the success has come from him. He puts it in. And so there's a good feeling when you take the field knowing that, like, you are completely ready. You've put the work in, and you don't have to make anything up because, like, you're ready for that spot.
Yeah, and again, like, he's been spectacular, but really he's gotten a lot of support from, like you said, Marcus Mariota, Cliff Kingsbury does a great job, and just, like, the ecosystem around him. Can you talk about what those guys have done and maybe how they help him in these big moments? And
that came right from Adam, from the beginning, why we would select Marcus to be here. The selection of the player, the coaching staff, down the line of who's in there to support, from David Blau, who was a player first year into transition to coaching, to Vita, Bryan, and just making sure, man, this was going to be a very unique scenario that we were going to throw support at him. We also needed a tight end. You also needed a strong interior of the offensive line. So that's Biotic, that was Sam, that was, Nick. And so Adam was very specific and systematic about the support that he would need, and we were not going to set up this player with anything but success to make sure the interior of the pocket, he had a tight end, there was a running game, like all the things, the coaching that there was no other option. Like, this is going to work, and we're going to support the hell out of him. And then he's exceeded all of our expectations, which were already really high, just based on the work ethic, the commitment that he has, the humility that he plays with and lives his life with. And so it's been an excellent process to go through.
And Coach, we're going to be missing Sam Cosmi. We hope him for speedy recovery. Prayers to him and his family. How do you feel those shoes? Somebody like Sam Cosmi that's not just the heart and soul of this line, but is a big leader on this team.
Yeah, Sam's made a huge impact on that right side. And so it won't be just one player likely. We'll have a mix of combinations of how we do things. But, he's made a huge impact for us. And we'll get him back. The bummer is that it won't be, for this season. But we'll get him back. It's hard today because not having him there, that hurts, just like it was with Noah and other guys that we've lost. But that is also, why we train everybody, that these moments do come up. And I think we would have derailed long ago if we weren't ready when injuries took place. And those are the things that it's a hard part of our game, but they do happen. And you have to be training other players to step into those spaces.
And Coach, you've been to the link a lot of times, but this time you're walking in with that burgundy and gold on. How much is it going to mean to you to look around that stadium and see all those burgundy and gold fans there, here to support this team on the road yet again?
It would be absolutely awesome. If I see one burgundy and gold sweatshirt, I will absolutely point them out. And but honestly, like the love that the community that has supported for us as the team, that's a big deal. And we know it has such a long history from grandparents to kids to grandkids and all the way down. And so to see that kind of support for the team, they feel it. And especially on the road, when you see somebody that's, hey, you're with me. And so that's a good feeling.
The best fans in the NFL, Coach. Coach, we appreciate your time, and now we'll see you and Logan getting in that film room.
All right, thanks, guys.
Always great hearing from Coach. Now let's hear a little more about today's matchup. It's time for a competitive edge brought to you by FanDuel. Make every more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders. Now here's a look at the upcoming competition for the Commanders. The Eagles are making their 9th appearance in the NFC Championship game. They led the NFL in rushing attempts this season and ranked number 1 in the NFL in total defense. The last time Washington and Philly met in a postseason game was Washington's 1990 NFC wildcard game with quarterback Mark Rippon at the helm. Washington won that game 20-6. Now stay right there, Commanders fans. Logan and Coach Quinn will head into the film room right after this break to talk about how ball is life for the Commanders defense going into today's matchup against the Eagles. And later on in the show, Logan and I will talk about the matchups we can't wait to see tonight.
You're watching The Game Plan, presented by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. And by Marsh McLennan Agency, official employee benefits partner of the Washington Commanders. And by Cognier Technology, secure today, shape tomorrow.
Welcome back into The Game Plan. It's time to go inside the film room, brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly.
All right, Coach, one of the things that happened last week against Detroit that I think is essential today against Philly, it's essential against every game, right, is getting the ball out. And I love how you did it in a multitude of different ways. And we're going to start here with Dorrance Armstrong. And I love this. We got kind of 5 guys up at the line of scrimmage. We got our individual matchups. Everyone's in a one-on-one. There's no hiding any pass protector. Someone's got to win. And I think Dorrance did a great job.
Yeah, and as you know, once it goes out to empty, this ball is going to come out quickly. And so you better hit your rush quickly. And so I thought a defensive end matched up inside on a guard, you've got to go hit it quickly. And so for him, we call that a side scissor, trying to get the arms off of us in the pass protection. I thought he did a great job just turning the toe and finding that edge. Yeah, love the turn. Coach, every time we do this, I get a little nugget, right? Turn the toe, love to turn the toe, get around. Yes. And then that ball's got to come out, and just the ball awareness, I think, too, as a rusher. Because sometimes you see the quarterback, you lose your mind a little bit, right? But he's thinking about the ball, gets the ball out, and Frankie gets the recovery. Yeah, you're thinking about attacking the elbow. That ball could move around, so making sure you can be aggressive and go hit it. And then Frankie, coming back up inside to recover it. Yeah. That was a big play. Yeah, huge play. And again, because they're on the 17-yard line, keeping points off the board, getting the ball back to your offense, fantastic job. And this is to me, maybe the play of the game, right? Yes, it's one of these moments where it's you're in kind of this Tampa 2 structure here. You got guys back 2, and then you got the run through of Bobby Wagner in the middle of the field here. And just really, to me, it's the coverage is made by these guys underneath, getting good depth and hanging out underneath these routes and forcing this errant throw. But great job by Quan. And sometimes you need defenses that you match up man-to-man, and other times you want vision right on the QB. Yes. And so on this particular one, this is a zone, so you're identifying where the quarterback is, and now there's some eyes facing back to him. And so when you see that, sometimes it's a harder throw to
Yes.
get in than in man-to-man. And so on this overthrown ball, it just happened that the deep field safety here was Quan and able to make a play on
Yeah,
it.
because you can really feel by the ball trajectory that he's thinking, he's worried about this underneath hook play.
Of
Like
course,
he's worried
yes.
about that. So there's a little bit more air on it,
Yes,
right?
trying to throw over somebody, but on this particular one, because of the distance, the curl player, he could get deeper.
Yeah.
And so it allowed for that ball to go over the top because of that, the depth of the drop.
Almost like he's catching a punt here. And then I know Quan's a good athlete, 44-inch vertical, ran a good 40, all that kind of stuff, but he's got a little bit of wiggle here, Coach,
Yes.
and breaking tackles, doing some stuff.
You clearly are not on your huddle game. This guy is a premier athlete. And so for him, once you get it, now we've got to go lead all the way up. He broke a couple of tackles. And the other teammates of him also led up and did a nice job of securing that sideline for him to go have a chance to go make it.
It's great to see guys working to get blocks down here.
That's
which
right.
is awesome.
You only need to block in front of the ball, not behind it. So that doesn't do any good. So block in front of the ball, and it's their turn to go on to offense.
And so it was great, to see him make this play. And it was just awesome to see everybody kind of making plays. And I look at this one, and this is quarters coverage. This is a quarters beating concept.
Yes.
And so when you see this on the film, you don't realize how good the play is until you know the coverage and know what the situation that he's in here.
Yeah, and sometimes there's players that have hard parts of the down.
Yeah.
And on this particular coverage, this is the hard down because as the wide receiver is going vertical, he'll get lifted to the safety, which essentially puts the corner in man-to-man.
Yeah,
so
because he's got to attach, right?
That
He's
is a
attaching
difficult
this,
one. And so at this break, there are now two receivers going after that football.
Yeah.
And Mike turned into the receiver that he initially was to make a great play because, quite honestly, Goff threw a good ball to go, and Mike really made a good play.
I was going to say, and you talk about eyes on the quarterback, I feel like he's kind of seeing both here. He's seeing the quarterback, he's seeing the receiver. He keeps great depth, right?
That's right.
Then the ball skills here. I know he played receiver, and everyone talks about that, but it's different when the ball's not coming to you.
If you can stay attached like it was here and down here, Logan, those are the contested catches that you try to have when you're matched up and playing singles. So when they're going to take their shot down the field, and it's that tight of a contested catch, he turned into the receiver.
Yeah, and I don't know, Quan, Mikey, who's got the better return skills here? They're both breaking tackles, I'll say that for them.
Yeah, I think we have to give up to the touchdown on this particular one, but both of them were very impactful.
And then, so you talk about football and nerdy stuff, and I love when I see kind of something fun. We get kind of almost a man shell here. It looks like man coverage, and you guys do a great job with your disguises, getting into this kind of Tampa 2, right? We get the half player. He's the run-through player, and I love, I don't really think of him as a great ball, like a great tracking of the football. This is great awareness by him tracking the quarterback.
Yeah, that is absolutely coming from the work because he doesn't get this particular technique a lot. And so that was one of those ones I was talking about where you can now have vision onto the QB. And so now, as the quarterback's eyes go to that side, the break can now begin.
Yes, and it's interesting because there's no vertical run through, right?
That's right.
He doesn't have any work, and you see him kind of say, I've done my first responsibility.
That's right.
Eyes to the quarterback, and then he just tracks the eyes and really makes a tremendous break on the football here.
Yeah, that was that's a game clincher and smart decision, get down, pool party, Commanders win.
Yeah, it was great to see this, and again, it was awesome to see the ball be life in this situation. I hope the ball comes out a couple times versus Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, thanks, Luke.
Thanks, Coach and Logan. Now it's time for your Prime Player, brought to you by DC Prime, Loudoun's premier steakhouse. For dinner reservations or private dining, call 703-840-2099. This week's Prime Player is wide receiver Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry had 4 receptions for 87 yards and a touchdown in last week's win over the Detroit Lions. McLaurin has had a lot of success against the Eagles in his career. In 12 career games versus the Eagles, he's had 64 receptions for 917 yards and 6 total touchdowns. Now, if you want to hear more about Terry McLaurin in this NFC Championship game, stay right there because Logan and I will be right back to talk about the upcoming matchups we cannot wait to see today. All that right after this break on the Game Plan. Welcome back into the Game Plan, Commanders family. I have great news for you. D-Mitch, Santana Moss, and myself will have all of your pregame coverage you need for this NFC Championship matchup starting at 1 p.m. today from Lincoln Financial Field in Philly. You can catch us on the Commanders YouTube page, X, Facebook, and WSA 9+. Now, it's time for your ticket to a win, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing? A ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek. Logan, as always, our ticket to a win. These must-watch matchups. You only got 30 seconds, so let's get right into it.
Gets short every week. Joe Wood Jr. and Saquon Barkley. Again, this is a dynamic playmaker. The same way a receiver is, right? Or a quarterback. You need all 11 guys to stop the run and need great defensive scheme. That's why it's him versus Saquon. Can't wait to watch that matchup.
Next one up.
Dude, Cliff Kingsbury versus Vic Fangio. This defense is crazy complicated, hide coverage as well. Can he find some type of tell, formation, personnel that gives Jayden Daniels the edge? Can't wait to watch it.
These are your must-watch matchups for tonight's game against the Philadelphia Eagles. NFC Championship, baby. For head coach Dan Quinn, Logan Paulsen, I'm Bryan Colbert Jr. This is the Game Plan. See y'all next week.